welcome you to Baseball Night in America. And on this Saturday night, we take it to America's heartland. Two of the great teams in baseball history. The New York Yankees pay their first visit to Busch Stadium since back in 2014 to take on the St. Louis Cardinals. Standings for both teams very important right now. How about as it stands right now in the American League? The Yankees, despite their recent slide, they hold a half-game advantage over the Astros for the best record in the league. Meanwhile, for the Cardinals side of things in the National League Central right now, a tie with Milwaukee for the top spot of the division. Of course, the Redbirds trying to stay out of any type of wild card scenario. We welcome you inside. Aaron Goldsmith alongside the Hall of Famer John Smoltz. And John, as we just saw with the standings, although both teams are in a good position right now, this is no time to let up for either side.
No, if you're the Yankees, you're having a monster year. You want to finish it off by having the best record in the American League, so your chances of going to the World Series are greater. If you're the Cardinals, you just want to guarantee a series. You don't care which it is, but division winner would be awfully nice.
Now, there's no question about that. In this ballpark tonight, we very well might be looking at the most valuable player of each league. Two guys who have just been simply on fire since the start of the season. Of course, we're talking about Aaron Judge and Paul Goldschmidt.
Well, you know what, Aaron Judge, everyone thought he must be crazy turning down that contract. Well, who's crazy now? When you see the numbers that Aaron Judge has put up, he is on his way to a monster year, and hopefully he can stay healthy because he's a big reason why the Yankees have been great. On the other side, Paul Goldschmidt has been a monster, a silent monster, because that's the way he plays. He's having an MVP type season, and look for these two guys to represent their teams, not only individually, but collectively into the playoffs.
If you needed more storylines between these two franchises, how about the Cardinals starting pitcher tonight? Maybe the most surprising deal at the deadline. Moments before the deadline, Jordan Montgomery going from the Yankees to the Cardinals just days ago. And tonight he makes his Cardinals debut against his former team. We'll hear more about that from Ken Rosenthal. On the other side, we've got Baseball Night in America from St. Louis. It's the Yankees and the Cardinals coming up next on Fox. On the banks of the mighty Mississippi inside Busch Stadium in downtown St. Louis, 91 degrees, humidity. You know, it feels like 59, maybe even a little higher. A little bit of a breeze. One of the great storylines in this game tonight, Jordan Montgomery taking the field for the first time in something other than a Yankees uniform. And for more on tonight's Cardinals starting pitcher, we go down to the field and say hello to Ken Rosenthal.
Aaron, perhaps no player in the majors was more surprised to be traded than Jordan Montgomery. He got the news about 10 to 15 minutes before the deadline, summoned to manager Aaron Boone's office with general manager Brian Cashman on speakerphone. Montgomery, though, was not the only one shocked. His fiancée, Mackenzie Durr, is a fourth-year medical student specializing in dermatology. The day before, she had started something called an away rotation, a tryout of sorts, at Mount Sinai Hospital in New York. Her plan was to do her residency in the city, and Montgomery described her as pretty devastated by his sudden relocation.
Kenny, it's quite the story, and Jordan Montgomery will have to learn on the fly with his new ball club. A very good starting pitcher traded at the deadline. We can see his numbers, 21 starts, a 3.69, what he did in pinstripes this year, John.
Yeah, you got to know he knows his teammates, but he never thought he would be facing them, especially in this year. And he's a guy that has a really good breaking ball, changeup, cutter, fastball, and he's going to try to keep the ball in the ballpark. And what better place to do it here than his other confines at Yankee Stadium? So there's the breakdown: sinker, changeup, curveball, occasional four-seamer, and cutter. And he's trying to get used to not only his new digs, but face his former team.
We'll see how this works out for Montgomery. Certainly an odd feeling it must be for Jordan Montgomery. He's facing some guys he knows really well. This very deadly Yankees starting lineup. It leads off with DJ LeMahieu. He's reached in 23 of his last 25 games. He's having a fantastic year. We all know about Aaron Judge, the front runner for the American League MVP. He leads all of baseball, 43 home runs. Donaldson, a first-year Yankee, then Gleyber Torres at second base. The former Cardinal, Matt Carpenter, getting his sixth start of the season against the left-handed starting pitcher. Aaron Hicks is in left, another first-year Yankee, Isaiah Kiner-Falefa, yet to hit a home run this year for New York. But that's not what he was brought on to do. He's been fantastic defensively. Plenty of speed in center field with Tim LaCastro, who starts, and Kyle Higashioka does the catching and bats ninth. Blue skies overhead, warm, but overall pleasant for this time of year in St. Louis. Tonight, the middle game of 3. Last night, a thrilling come-from-behind victory for the Cardinals in front of a full house. Another max-capacity crowd expected tonight. All right, John, so what was the hitters meeting like today for the Yankees?
Yeah, they're refamiliar. They're going to go over what their old teammate used to do when they played behind them. So they're going to know exactly. Each party's going to know what the other one's trying to do. It comes down to executing against your former teammates.
Just beneath the knees, 2-0 to LeMahieu.
I got to be honest, it only happened to me at the end of my career with the Boston Red Sox, and the things that you take for granted when you're in one place and familiar, you start thinking about other things you normally wouldn't think of. With the bases loaded, I did not know where to put my feet on the mound. I had a total out-of-body experience, and I literally thought I was going to balk. And usually you put your weight on one foot so you don't balk. And I had him on both my feet, and finally Varitek came out and said, "Is everything okay?" I said, "No." I don't know where to put my feet. And it was that big of an out-of-body experience for me because I was coming back from something trying to reprove that I could pitch after 21 years. Facing your former teammates in this quick of a time frame is a shock to your system. It can work the same way if you're not careful, and certainly he's not, hopefully, thinking about that.
2 balls and 2 strikes to LeMahieu. Chopping foul over by third base.
By the way, that outing didn't go very well.
But was there no balk?
There was no balk, but there was just this panic and stress that I never used to. You know, bases loaded are stress anyways. I literally did not know. I had one foot in front of the rubber, one behind. It was just awful. And I can see why those things happen when you shock your system of something you didn't think was going to be.
Another 2-2. And it's been up to LeMahieu to set the table this year for Aaron Judge. And as LeMahieu's got a 3-ball count here, and you look at his numbers this season, his on base is pushing 400, more walks than strikeouts this year. A guy who's won a batting title in each league. He's still hitting for a high average, but he's been living on base this year, which is exactly what the Yankees want in front of Judge. And his 43 home runs. The opposite way. And the chance for Newt. Make an early appearance tonight. Leadoff man retired in front of Aaron Judge, who has simply been magnificent this year. He leads the majors in homers and runs and ribbies and in slugging percentage. And his 162 game pace, well, 66 home runs. Most home runs through 107 team games. You're talking the Bambino, Big Mac, Barry Bonds, and then Aaron Judge this year.
Well, the good news for Montgomery is he is not faring as well against left-handers as he does against right-handers, especially in the power department.
Called a strike.
One area you can go to, or I should say the only 2 areas against the left-handed pitcher, if the strike zone had numerical numbers for boxes, there's 9 boxes. So box number 1 and 3 at the top of the zone is where you're trying to get Aaron Judge. 4, 5, 6, and 9, forget about it. Don't throw it in there. Try to get it to expand the zone up and in and up and away, and occasionally get that ball off the plate.
Doesn't get the call this time. Maybe some people thought that Judge would slow down with the All-Star break. It's been just the opposite. Since the break, he's batting over 400. He's homered 10 times in 14 games.
And that discipline right there is the reason he's having a great year. He's not expanding the zone. Now, he'll get called on strikes below the zone that aren't strikes because he's so tall, and that's frustrating to Aaron Boone and, of course, to Aaron Judge. But he hasn't expanded the zone because of it. And that is a great testimony to him and the year he's having. Because as a pitcher, you want him to get frustrated after a call like that and swing outside the zone.
Hit hard. It splits the left side of Arenado and DeYoung. One out single for Aaron Judge.
And this is a rhythm, you know, just like a pitcher who's in rhythm making all his pitches, a hitter has the same feeling. The foot gets down, all the timing in the world, even though the ball didn't get elevated. Look how quick that bat gets to the zone and how fast it gets past the infield. And that's what Aaron Judge has been able to do this year.
Maybe a couple of future MVP winners this year talking things over at first base. One out, a man aboard. And here is Josh Donaldson.
Another guy who has struggled against left-handers, and you wouldn't think that would be the case.
And just a 191 average against lefties as Montgomery gets the first pitch strike called. Donaldson last night, a couple of hits, drove in 2 runs, made the shift on for him.
Yeah, he doesn't go to the opposite way but about 10% of the time, so that's why the shift's in play. And the other thing he's trying to do, like a lot of hitters in philosophy, is his leg kick and his philosophy to hitting. He wants the ball in the air. He wants gaps and homers. He doesn't want to hit the ball on the ground, so therefore he tries to get the ball off the ground. When he does hit it on the ground, it's situations like this where he can ground into double plays, and the last 2 years he's grounded into 29 of them.
Judge not far off the bag. By the way, Judge, another stolen base last night. 11 bags this year for Judge. Has not been caught stealing once this year.
He can do it all. I'm sure in the outfield as well. He's been playing more center field than normal.
Just missing to the top of the zone. Just 13 times in baseball history has a player hit 50 homers and stolen double-digit bases in a single season. The last man to do it was A-Rod. That was back in 07.
And I like when those things happen naturally. You know what I'm saying? Not to get them because of that. If you're naturally able to do that to help your team, great.
Another fastball high, 3-1. You're telling me Judge isn't going to swipe 3 bags in game 162 to get to double digits? He's got that part taken care of. And I think you're right. The 50 home runs will probably take care of themselves on their own.
Right. But I never liked it when a guy got to 30 homers and then he tried to get to 30 stolen bases, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
I see. A walk to Donaldson. 1 out, 2 on. Well, Montgomery goes from one great defense to another. How about O'Neill in left field? A couple of Gold Gloves. Dylan Carlson will be the everyday center fielder for a long time now. Nootbaar, the rookie in right field. We talk about gold on the corners. Arenado and Goldschmidt, DeYoung, Gorman up the middle. And then, of course, Yadier Molina just recently back from a knee injury. 9 Gold Gloves. 4 Platinum Gloves as well. An early visit.
Yeah, this is just a good job by Mike Maddox just to settle him down. You can imagine what he's feeling about getting through this inning against his former team and just, again, trying to make an impact here in the Cardinal uniform. That usually trumps everything else. You want to make an impact with your new team so bad that you press a little bit, and that's a good meeting right there just to make sure he gets back to the basics. And I'm sure the conversation was like, we can get a ground ball to this guy and get out of the inning.
It's his first Maddox shoulder squeeze, the go-to move. One of the great pitching coaches in the game. Now Montgomery, a career best ground ball rate this year. He's essentially doubled his sinker usage this season. A great ground ball pitch for him. Here's Gleyber Torres with 1 out and 2 on.
Everything about pitching when you go to a different team, you've got the catcher pitcher combination you're trying to get accustomed to, the new scenery. I'm sure, you know, pitching here versus your home park and all the other teams you're familiar with. So he's trying to get that on the fly. Not a lot of time to have reps.
First time on the Busch Stadium mound for Montgomery as the count goes to 1-1.
That's the pitch against Torres. You got to be able to throw that changeup because Torres really wants to go after the fastball. He hasn't had a great number with runners in scoring position so far in this year. He's hitting 200.
1 out, 2 on, the 1-1. Now Montgomery's not a big swing and miss guy, but if you look at the best pitches to get the whiffs on for him this year, it has been the changeup and that curveball. Curveball's been a really good ground ball pitch for him also. Cuts through the fastball, 2-2.
You got to have confidence to pitch to contact when you're a guy like Montgomery and use your defense. But when you're going against the Yankees, easier said than done, right? I trust I'm going to make a good pitch, but you're a little bit apprehensive about what they're going to do with it if it's not a good pitch. So that's part of his little bit of nerves here. Missing on the outside part of the plate against a really good team that has cut down their strikeouts from last year.
Able to hold back on a high heater, so back-to-back 3-ball counts.
If he has the feel and the confidence to throw his changeup, this would be the time, 3-2, to have that pitch come in. We'll see what Aaron Boone does if he sends the runners. If you send the runners, you're trusting your hitter's going to make contact.
Torres calls for time. And Montgomery, 1 pitch missing away from loading him up for Carpenter on deck. Here's the payoff. Arenado snares it hip high. Over to second. Gorman to first base. And Montgomery gets the double play ball he wanted. He gets out of a first inning jam. First inning, how about that starting lineup for Ollie Marmol? Redbirds top 10 in baseball in runs, on base, and slug. Well, you've got the duo of Goldschmidt and Arenado. They're trying to get the bat of Tyler O'Neill heated up still as the calendar flips to August. DeYoung is back a week ago tonight. He's homered twice since his return. They're happy to have Yadier Molina back off the injured list. Meanwhile, Corey Dickerson, the DH, batting 9th tonight for St. Louis. Domingo Germán spent much of this year on the injured list, a shoulder issue. He's making only his 4th start of the season tonight.
Well, part of that trade had to be a lot of confidence in this young man moving forward, and if he's going to have success, it's the command of all 3 pitches that he can throw at any time, and basically has that low 3/4 slot delivery. The combination of fastballs only at 37%, so he relies heavily on those off-speed pitches against a vastly improved Cardinal lineup.
Dylan Carlson leads it off. Takes ball 1 upstairs and outside. Former first-round draft pick. Has hit lefties much better than righties this year. Switch hitter. Well, there is that changeup.
Changeup's a field pitch, and he usually has good feel for the strike zone. Good velocity, good movement. But it's the curveball that has given Dylan Carlson the most trouble off of right-handers.
There's no question where Carlson will be playing defensively for years to come. Now in center field every day. Cardinals trading away their Gold Glove center fielder Harrison Bader to the Yankees. A 1-for-1 swap for Jordan Montgomery. Full count. Ollie Marmol, first-year skipper, just 36 years old. Played in the minors with the Cardinals, former bench coach for the Redbirds. A step into shallow right. Gleyber Torres handles that easily. Leadoff man retired. How about the rest of that Yankee defense tonight behind Germán? Hicks in left. Castro, one of the fastest men in baseball, is in center. Of course, Aaron Judge anchors right field. It's a new and very improved left side of the infield for the Bombers. Donaldson and Kiner Falefa at third and short. Torres LeMahieu, he can play everywhere. He's over at first base. Higashioka does the catching. Donaldson, don't let his advanced age, 36 years old, fool you. He's still getting it done defensively. First pitch missing to Nolan Gorman.
Well, in talking to the Cardinals manager, the one thing that we talked about and asked him is what imprint did you want to have on this team as first-year manager? And the one thing he talked about was having an identity in offense. Like they lost their identity, and now with some star power and the ability to have the corners dominating offensively, he feels like they're bringing that intensity and confidence, and even work the word loose in there. And it's working so far for the Cardinals as they're currently atop the division, tied.
There is Donaldson, a long run for it, and it's into the crowd for a foul ball. Well, you look at St. Louis after the first, call it month and a half of the season. I mean, this was a team that made a lot of contacts. At one point, after about a month's worth of games, they were tied for the lowest strikeout rate in baseball, but there wasn't much oomph that came along with it, right? They were middle of the pack to below in slug. And they've somehow managed, and maybe this is just the length of the season playing out, they've been able to keep the contact and gain the slug. This is on a line out to Judge in the sun, and with those sunglasses on, he reels it in for out number 2.
Well, any team that's going to have success needs their superstars to be great, and the guy coming to the plate has been a superstar for a long time, and he is certainly playing great this year with just eye-popping numbers.
His .330 average is the best in baseball. His on-base percentage of just over .400 is second highest in the game. It's a healthy hack and a fastball carving in on him for strike 1. Leads the National League in all 3 slash categories in average, on base, and slug. 0-2.
Unique batting style to where you would think, how can he get the bat to all the area of the zone the way he holds that bat, but he does, and he's strong enough to be able to do that. Typically you want to get him out away, something chasing off the plate. They pitched him in early to get him out away. That's a perfect pitch, but see the variance of that pitch where he swung earlier inside was so far off the difference that it allowed him to stay off that pitch. If that would have been a fastball previous to that pitch, I don't think he could have stayed off of it. So much of pitching and hitting is recognizing the last pitch you saw, and the last pitch he saw was a sinker in, and now imagine seeing that pitch away. That looked so far off the plate to him. That's the reason why he didn't chase it. And that's why we talk about pitching in lanes that are familiar to the hitter, but they can't see the spin difference.
Would Herman have had to throw that pitch for a strike, or just much closer to off the plate?
Well, the ideal situation for any pitcher is when he gets a swing foul ball or a swing and a miss on that side of the plate. Then you follow it with something breaking away from that fastball. Always work off the height of your fastball with your secondary pitches to follow.
Line to left field. Hicks has to chase it down. It gets to the base of the wall. Extra bases for Goldschmidt. He stands up with a 2-out double.
See, that's a perfect example of a hitter who's hot, who got to see 2 pitches in that he didn't handle very well at all. Then none of the other pitches were close to that area, so when it got to 3-2, he threw him a sinker or a changeup inside, and he was all over it. That's when you know your timing is perfect. You don't sweat the small stuff with 2 strikes, and you're having a monster year. It looks like a beach ball coming in there, and right away Goldschmidt he's dominating in so many categories we can't talk about it in the next 3 innings, and Phil, how much he's dominating, not to mention at home.
Some hard contact off of Herman early. Arenado takes inside for ball 1. Nolan Arenado, a second-year Cardinal, this year an all-star for the 7th time. Now, he has been scalding hot since the start of July, batting over .350. An OPS of over 1,100 since the start of last month.
And he loves him some fastballs. He is every bit ready on every pitch to let it go on fastballs that he gets in the zone.
Both starting pitchers having to deal with some traffic and scoring position in the first inning. 2 balls and a strike now to the Cardinals third baseman. We mentioned the loud contact, by the way. All 3 balls in play over 100 miles an hour off the bat by the Cardinals, and that double by Goldschmidt, 108. Ooh, called a strike.
Tried to go in, but caught just below the line. Good action on his sinker, even though he missed his spot. Watch where this pitch was, down. And of course, Nolan Arenado thought it was down for a ball, but didn't get that call. So now he'll be a little more aggressive with 2 strikes, trying to protect the low part. Now this would be the time to throw a low curveball that starts over the middle of the plate and ends up below the line.
Tight to the line, a foul ball.
And he did it, but it was too high. It caught too much of the plate. That's how you work off the height of the previous pitch, and you get a hitter to fish or expand the zone, which every pitcher's trying to do, is make hitters swing outside the zone. That one caught way too much part of the plate.
Both starters over 20 pitches in the first inning. Still 2-2.
See, the hitters you have to know in the game, you got to know who likes to chase with 2 strikes. He does, but he does a good job. He doesn't swing and miss a ton, but he likes to chase. So this 2-2 pitch right here, he doesn't have to throw for a strike. He's thrown 2 of them in a row now that have caught too much part of the plate. If you walk him, so be it. You're facing O'Neill with first and second, but the next 2 pitches, in my opinion, should not end up in the strike zone.
Certainly does not. So you're saying he will chase, but he's good at making contact outside the zone.
Right, and I'm not saying that the contact usually results in great numbers for him outside the zone, but he likes to swing with 2 strikes, so you can get weaker contact. But if you make a mistake to an aggressive hitter who likes to swing in the strike zone or outside the strike zone, he will make you pay.
And that's really a profile that a lot of these Cardinals hitters have. Maybe Arenado the most. Slow foul.
And he's just playing with fire now. He has not made a good 2-strike pitch. And those are the things you have to do against the 3 and 4 hitters of the Cardinals. Of course, they're 2 best hitters. With 2 outs, you don't want to get beat here on a 3-2 pitch to one of the best hitters. So that's where the game has changed to where you say, okay, if I bounce this and you walk, so be it. I'll attack the next hitter and a fresh count.
This will be pitch number 9. It'll bring on a 10th. What does this do when you're a starting pitcher, especially a guy in Herman? We mentioned only 3 starts. He's coming back off the injured list. And now you have well over 20 pitches in the first inning. You're about to throw your 10th pitch to one hitter. Does that get in your head at all?
Well, there's no doubt. You don't want to ever throw 10 pitches to one hitter. He starts seeing more and more of your spin. You try to save things for later, but that later ain't coming into the equation right now. He just needs to make a better executed pitch for a ball.
Into left field. Goldschmidt coming around to score. It's bobbled by Hicks for a moment. Won't matter. 2-out run production for the Cardinals. Nolan Arenado parks a base hit to left. And the Redbirds take an early 1-0 lead.
See, that'll be discussed later, but that's exactly what I was talking about. To an aggressive hitter, he left all these pitches in the zone. You cannot do that to especially really good players, yet alone a hot player. And he didn't give in with 2 outs, which ends up costing him a run. Who knows what Hicks has got a pretty good arm. Who knows what would have happened if he come up with that cleanly. But there you have it. 2 guys that are help carrying this offense with 2 outs get it done.
O'Neill takes a breaking ball for a strike. Well, some early run production behind Jordan Montgomery making his Cardinals debut. Busts him in. O'Neill It's been a struggle this year offensively. Spent some time on the injured list as well. That's the 58 games. That's all this year for O'Neill.
Yeah, he's getting underneath some of these sinkers, and when he's on, his sinker dives down in the zone. O'Neill is capable of swinging above the zone. I don't know if that's part of the arsenal where they're going to attack him, but with 2 strikes up, O'Neill's really struggled this year, as you see the numbers between last year and this year against non-fastballs.
Yeah, big difference. It's a real strength to his last year.
And see, again, because you're not hitting your spot, you've wasted an opportunity. That's exactly where they wanted to go, was up. You throw that pitch over the top of the zone and make it look like a strike, and the stats tell you he can't stay off of it.
Hold to Donaldson, down to a knee at third base. Strong throw to first. Round number 3. Arenado, an RBI base hit, has given the Cardinals an early 1-0 lead. When we come back to Busch Stadium, the longtime Cardinal Matt Carpenter will lead things off for the Yankees. Outstanding ovation for Matt Carpenter, the former Cardinal. Once again, Yadier Molina standing out in front of home plate. Every Cardinals fan wants to get theirs for Carpenter. Same thing happened last night. Mostly new crowd tonight.
Yep.
And they want to salute the longtime St. Louis Cardinal, now having a real renaissance with the Yankees.
Well, if you're turning on your TV and you haven't checked in a while, you're wondering, Montgomery on the mound? Did he pitch for the Yankees? And Carpenter at the plate. Well, Carpenter has been a rejuvenated version of himself. He's been outstanding with the Yankees since being released and picked up.
1 ball and 1 strike to Carpenter, DHing tonight. His 6th start this year against a lefty. And the shift on for him. 11 years here in St. Louis, a 3-time All-Star, won a Silver Slugger. Received MVP votes 3 different seasons.
I know it's such a bad game to play, but I always like to figure out the mindset of, like, if you had to pick one guy in the lineup and clone him, and you'd have 9 of them, right? Who would you pick? Well, irrelevant what the answer is. But if you had 9 of these guys in here, a starting pitcher in 1920 couldn't get through the game, because he's going to see 8 to 9 pitches every at bat. I mean, he makes every pitcher work, and he's so comfortable knowing when he gets 2 strikes, and you can see at 325 he's not bothered by that. He makes you work for everything you get when you're on the mound.
And he's hit lefties well this year. He has simply been mashing since he was called up. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Dylan Carlson makes the catch. Now for more on Matt Carpenter. Kenny?
Well, Aaron, Matt Carpenter's sons, Kinley and Cannon, are 6 and 5 years old, about the same ages as Paul Goldschmidt's children, Jake and Emma. So they spent the morning together at Goldschmidt's house having a bit of a play date, and then in the afternoon, Carpenter went to lunch with another former teammate, Paul Goldschmidt. I'm sorry, Adam Wainwright. Now, it's funny, guys. When Carpenter joined the Yankees, he did not even know the Cardinals were on the schedule until he received a text from Derek Gould, longtime beat writer for the St. Louis Post-Dispatch. And Derek wrote, "Looking forward to seeing you in August," and now August is here.
What an ovation it has been for the former Cardinal. Mustache, he pulls that off.
Well, he grows it 20 minutes. I mean,
it looks like it doesn't stop growing.
Yeah.
It's achieved walrus status. Aaron Hicks, the batter, with 1 out and nobody on.
And the last 3 games against left-handers have been really struggle for Aaron Hicks in making contact. He has not made much contact. He's having a little bit of a down year, even though keeping him healthy has been the goal because of his ability to switch hit. Struggling at home, probably glad to be on the road here.
In play on the left side, Arenado belt high. 2 gone.
Yeah, that's one position that hitters tonight should stay away from. Third base is covered by both teams, Donaldson and of course the best in Arenado.
You know, it's like Jack Buck used to say about Ozzie Smith. That's not where you want to hit it. 2 up and 2 down. Speaking of shortstops, speaking of Jack Buck, there is Isaiah Kiner-Falefa. First-year Yankee, 27 years old. Out of Honolulu, he looks at a first pitch strike.
This is a way bigger pickup than people will give the Yankees credit for. And the reason I say that is because even though you see no home runs right there, his contact rate's through the roof, and that improves the contact rate collectively in their lineup. They've made some nice adjustments getting strikeouts out of their lineup. And the reason I think that's huge is that's been their Achilles heel come playoff time. They're going to get to the playoffs, but can they face the Verlanders and the elite pitchers and put the ball in play enough? He's going to be one of those guys that comes up big. You watch in the contact when they need it to get a ball in play.
Has really improved this year. Contact rate about middle of the pack in baseball for the Yankees this season. You look at another acquisition at the deadline or thereabouts. Andrew Benintendi coming over from Kansas City, the former Red Sox. He's a high contact, low strikeout hitter, low power, but Yankees have plenty of power.
Wally Joyner, who when he played for the Atlanta Braves during the, let's just call it the juice ball era, hadn't hit a home run through the first half, and he said it's not that big deal to hit 30-40 home runs. Try to go all year without hitting a home run. And I bet you this young man will say the same thing.
Yeah, that takes some real talent.
It does.
And dedication too, I think.
Absolutely. He blew it though. He hit a couple,
did?
Yeah, he hit some homers. So.
Gave up on
later.
Just needed to try harder. A much different looking roster in a lot of ways for Aaron Boone. Trying to pick up his 3rd 100-win season at the helm of the Yankees. Mentioned much better defensively, much better contact lineup. Montgomery retires this side in order. And what a weekend it has been for Matt Carpenter. Last night and out tonight. Everybody's loving having the former Cardinal back in the house here at Busch. Swinging strike 1 begins the bottom of the 2nd. Lars Nootbaar leads it off. Rookie right fielder for the Cardinals. Can you explain the differences between a Nootbaar and a Zagnut bar?
I sure can. A Nootbaar is a new craze going on here in the Midwest. It really hasn't been unveiled to a lot of other people.
Word is spreading, you think?
Word is spreading.
Nootbaar is trying to continue a trend that the Cardinals hitters produce in the first inning. 5 batters, 5 balls in play, all hit at least 100 miles an hour off the bat.
Not a good recipe. Bingo. And a young player that really doesn't fit the mold of a lot of other young players is he's got this sense of awareness around the plate. Not one of those free swingers. Does a good job managing the strike zone. That's 100 feet, but it's not 100 miles an hour.
All good things must come to an end. There's out number 1. Well, you still have a free chance to win $10,000 of Big Papi's money tonight playing Fox Bet Super 6. Just scan the QR code now, download the Super 6 app, and get your picks into the MLB Super 6 Challenge for a free chance to win $10,000. Leadoff man sat down in front of Paul DeYoung.
Well, if they got him going, it'd be like adding a free agent. You know, he's had a rough go of it. You see the average. He's got a lot of power. Went down, tried to work on a couple things. I think they figured a few things out. But if you get performance here from the second half on, I wouldn't even pay attention to the average if I was a player or a teammate. I'd be saying, this is your time now. We just need you to hit 300 for the week.
This is on the ground. Connor Falefa slings it over to first base. 2 up and 2 down. Much better start to this inning for Herman. And here is Yadier Molina. One of the all-time Cardinal greats has announced this is his final year. 39 years old. His 19th season. All have been in Cardinal red. Missed a month and a half on the injured list because of a knee. Just his 5th game back and healthy.
As he's gotten older, he's gotten a little more aggressive at the plate. The average, of course, byproduct of probably that injured knee.
You were saying aggressive. Humpback line drive taken there by Torres. Some softer contact from Herman and a 1-2-3 second. Top of the third, we pay a visit inside the Cardinals home dugout. It's our weekly Saturday night appointment with Uncle Charlie, Adam Wainwright. Wayno, first of all, is there air conditioning in the dugout? Are you in the heat for us and us only here? Are you bailing on AC, or is there no AC in the home dugout?
I'm bailing on AC for y'all because I'm pitching tomorrow. So which over here that Mad Dog likes us to do the chart. We got the pitching chart like back in the day of minor league ball, so we can get a look at the hitters we're facing and all that. So I got in there with on the recliner with my feet propped up, hydrating. It's a wonderful thing the day before total spa day. Wonderful thing. But you know, the coolest place in this dugout is in this tunnel right here. We got 2 fans in there that blow really, really freezing cold air, and that's where Jordan's sitting down there to keep it cool because it is a steamer out here today.
We appreciate the sacrifice, to say the least. LaCastro leads things off and cues one to first base. Goldschmidt cleans it up easily.
Well, Adam, you have been part of a lot of teams here, and I just want to know, is there something that separates this team, or is there something a little bit different about this year's Cardinals team?
Well, we have a deep pitching staff all of a sudden, but I mean, what separates us really always is our defense. I mean, our defense is special. We have Gold Glovers around the field, and the Yankees just traded for in my opinion, the best center fielder in baseball. I know there's a couple of guys out there that would argue, but you know, Harrison Bader is certainly in the conversation of the best center fielder in baseball, and the Yankees got a great one there. But we're glad to get this great starting pitcher we got back in return. But our defense is special around the horn. It's really good.
Hey, Adam, since you got one of the all-time great Cardinals right there, Willie McGee. You know, John's always talking about how great of an outfielder he could have been, and the clinics he put on shagging fly balls.
Yeah. Not just outfield, it's everything.
No,
I could have been the best basketball player ever. I could have been the best darts player ever.
You saw that firsthand. You saw that firsthand.
Yeah. Best pool player, ping pong player, field goal kicker ever. Just ask him.
I do think darts is a new low there, by the way. I need to know, among the pitching staff for the Cardinals this year, who would be the best outfielder?
Hey, watch how I embarrass Willie, though. You know, Willie McGee is one of the all-time greats. You know, Willie's just an incredible guy on the field, off the field, a great mentor, great outfielder, great Cardinal. Right, Willie? What, you want to get on here and talk a little bit? No comment. You know, we got some good athletes. We do. Miles Michaelis is a good guy. He plays a lot of sports. And TJ played a little basketball back in the day. Little known fact, Corey Dickerson, 4-time state champion basketball player in Mississippi. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
You know, that's pretty cool. Smoltzy, I'm still missing my golf partner, though. You know, the guy that I don't have to give 17 strokes to every time we play. But we have a lot of really good athletes. Nolan Arenado is a really good athlete. He's a really good golfer too.
Well, that's not a surprise.
And his golf swing looks exactly like his hitting swing. It's so funny. He got the elbow thing, you know, where he does that. He does that same thing in golf. It's really funny. But he hits it dead straight with a little draw. It's perfect.
Adam, tell us what it was like for you when you welcomed Jordan Montgomery into the clubhouse.
Well, he just walked in here and fit right in, honestly. I mean, he started joking around first day on the job, and we've already got a big league dinner scheduled for coming up here in Colorado, and just seemingly a great guy. I got a lot of texts from those Yankee guys over there saying, you're going to love this guy. CC Sabathia texted me, said, you are just going to love this guy. He's going to fit right in. He's an incredible person. And Carpenter texted me the same thing. He said, man, you got such a good guy over there. And that's the thing. You know what? We got the same text about Quintana. I mean, everybody in Pittsburgh and people who've played with him before said, you just got a pro's pro. So we got two really good guys added to our team.
2 balls and 2 strikes to Higashioka. Fouls it away.
Well, I know that this has been an incredible journey for you. What have you, I know you're taking it all in and all that, but what have you done differently as you've gotten older and either not taken for granted and paid attention here in this year as your career has unfolded?
The last couple years I've been doing these things called day after pitching old man walks. Don't know if you've seen this. But what that is an opportunity for me the day after I pitch where I get up and I just explore these great parks we play in. You know, get to see the sights and all the little nooks and crannies that you've never seen about the parks. I mean, so many times baseball players, we get to the park and the only thing we know about it at all is what the visiting clubhouse looks like and what the field looks like. How's the mound? That's it, you know, and each park is so uniquely different and so uniquely awesome, and everything, there's just different things about every park that make them special, and I've been getting out there and trying to experience that in every one of the parks. When we went to Stay fair. No foul. When we went to Wrigley Field, I got up there and sat in Harry Carey's chair. I sat in the bleachers. We did that at Fenway. I went up there on top of the monster and got up in the press box. I've been going on press box tours too. I actually got to call an inning with Bob Uecker in Milwaukee this year, which was fantastic. You know, I didn't even ask permission. I just told him, like, I kind of invited myself, you know. I said, I got up there, I met him before the game, and I said, Mr. Uecker, it would be amazing if I could call an inning with you at some point. He's like, well, come on up. And I was like, I'm gonna do that. Can I just come on up? And he's like, yeah, come on up in the 5th. And just, you know, our Cardinals guys were great and let me do it, and I had so much fun. I mean, he's, you know, he's Harry Doyle. You know, that's the way I think of him.
9th pitch of the at-bat. It splits a crowded left side of the infield. 1-out single for Higashioka. Now, Wayno, you have as many credentials as anyone in the game. Did that play fine in the clubhouse when you were up in the radio booth?
Hey, you know what's funny about that? I thought to myself, who is it in there that would have anything to say? And I thought, you know, I'm too old to really care about that. And then it's, you know what, I forgot though. Number 5 was back. I forgot Albert Pujols. And as soon as I got back in the clubhouse, he was like, what are you doing, man? You can't do that. It's unprofessional. I'm like, oh, gosh, I forgot Albert was here. You know, he's the only one that can really fuss at me. But he did it. He keeps me honest. Him and Yachty keep me honest. It's good. It's good to have those guys in here with me.
1 out, 1 on top of the order, LeMahieu. Hey, speaking of Yachty, John and I were talking about this before the game, and we're preaching to the choir here to the fan base in St. Louis, but there is a school of thought, Adam, and I don't know if you've been exposed to it, people who do not believe that Yadier Molina is a future Hall of Famer. I know how you feel on this. Can you please explain to I see the look.
It's a no-brainer.
And it's a warranted look. Please explain from a man who's worked your whole career with him.
Well, don't take it from me because I'm obviously biased, but take it from Johnny Bench, the all-time greatest catcher in everybody's eyes, right? Like, yeah. Johnny Bench said Yadier Molina is the best defensive catcher of all time.
Yeah, it's not. It won't even be.
I mean, what do you need?
Yeah.
What else do you need? I mean, but yeah. Honestly, there's just in my lifetime trying to be unbiased here, which I know I'm probably unbiased. But if you ask any other catcher in baseball, ask the catchers, ask the other catchers in baseball, who's the best catcher in our lifetime? They'll tell you Yachty. It's not just me. They'll tell you Yachty.
Softly back to the mound. Montgomery. I get the lead man Higashioka at second base.
I had a chance to hang out with Jose Trevino this morning a little bit, and he said Yachty is my guy. I love that guy, and it just had so much appreciation and so much reverence for the way Yachty has played the game over the years and the skill level that he has. You know, and Brian McCann used to tell me all the time when he was in Atlanta, he would say, dude, I just watch Yachty catch, and I'm just blown away. The way he receives and blocks and calls the game and is in control of every single thing. There's really there hasn't been anybody like it in our lifetime. And there's been some really good catchers, and I've mentioned a few already, but there's not anybody been like Yadi.
In steps Judge with 2 outs and a man aboard. Watch out inside that dugout. Found a way opposite end. All right, so how we pitching to Judge tomorrow?
Why in the world would I ever tell you that? You got to be smarter than that, man. Come on. If I'd sat here and told you how I was pitching Aaron Judge, they'd have that on a loop listening to that in the clubhouse.
All the more reason you just throw out something fake.
All right, you're right. I'm probably going to work on my changeup up in the zone, towards the inside part to him tomorrow, over and over again.
You don't have you have some of these experiences, but can you appreciate what Montgomery must be feeling? I mean, this is 3 days later facing his former team and putting on a new uniform. So far as looks like his emotions and jitters are all in check.
Well, it's going to be that way for me tomorrow if I face Carpenter. I mean, I played with him for 11 years, and when you face good buddies around, that's the hardest thing about baseball. I think you would agree is when you lose friends like that to free agency, or to you just don't keep in touch like you do or like you can when you play with somebody for a long season. When you're with them for 180 days in a row, 162 plus spring training plus off days, hanging out, big league dinners, flights, bus trips. You're with them more than you're with your family. There's just no doubt. And then like Skip Schumacher and I were best friends in the game for 10 years or whatever, all through the minor leagues and the big leagues.
Arenado's got it near the bag at third to retire the side.
That's why you never start a story with 2 outs right there.
Adam, we always appreciate it.
All right. Thank you,
Thanks,
guys.
man. One of the best on the field and off, Adam Wainwright. Check out the largest selection of authentic caps, t-shirts, collectibles, and more. Outfit the whole family with your favorite team's gear at MLBshop.com. Vermont's first pitch missing to Corey Dickerson, batting 9th tonight for the Cardinals. We just heard Adam Wainwright tell us about the illustrious high school basketball career of Corey Dickerson, and during the commercial break I learned that his high school retired his number.
I'd say so. I mean, 4 state championships.
I mean, am I in the dark here? How many high schools retire numbers? This is not a normal thing, right? Is your high school number retired?
It is.
I walked into that one, didn't I?
I'm kind of looking at you a little cross-eyed. Like, do you not know?
Come on, didn't you read my publicity sheet that was handed to you? Again? 2 balls and a strike.
I will tell you, though, the night my jersey got retired, I got a technical. I was coaching. Help coaching. I was assistant coaching at my high school. It was pretty ugly. But I did get a technical. I didn't get kicked out, but I got a technical, and luckily I didn't get kicked out.
No, wait, this is the night that your jersey was retired?
Yeah, I would sit on the bench for the JV and varsity assistant coach. I was a freshman coach, freshman basketball coach.
Hall of Famer can't get the varsity job?
Well, I mean, I had to work my way up. Didn't know it.
Just treat you like everybody else.
That's right.
Even if your number is retired.
Yeah, I only got 2 technicals in my 4-year coaching career, and they were by the same guy.
No, come on.
Yeah, and it really was cheap technicals because in Michigan we had the seatbelt law, and you couldn't stand up on the bench as a coach. And so I stood up to kind of yell at one of my teammates or my players, and he gave me a technical.
You couldn't stand up?
Couldn't stand up. There was a seatbelt rule. A lot of officials were taking a lot of grief, and they institute, all right, coaches can't get up. So by not getting up, you can't work the bench, you can't talk to your teammates. So finish the story the next day. I told the JV coach this guy wasn't very good, and I was going to have a hard time watching this game. So we walk off at halftime, and I probably said something I shouldn't have said. But I said I didn't think you could be worse than you were yesterday, and kept walking. And nothing happened except for in the second half. He started the second half with a technical on me.
This is softly popped up. Donaldson right there for out number 1. Tonight's telecast is sponsored by Google Pixel and by Geico. Save even more when you bundle home and car insurance. Where were you last night, John?
Never been up there.
We made the trip.
Don't ever think I'm ever going up there.
See, the key is when you get up there, you put your face on the window and you can feel the arch sway. That's the key, you see.
I understand. Well aware. That's for everybody else.
It's the highest seat in the house right now, looking right down onto Busch Stadium. Dylan Carlson, the batter.
You know, Adam was talking about Yadier Molina, and I could speak a little bit of the experience of coming over here in the end part to end my career, and getting a chance to throw to him was a treat. You know, and I've thrown to 27 or 6 or whatever, how many catchers over 21 years. And I would say, if this analogy makes sense, a great caddy in golf can make the difference on helping you win a tournament or save a shot, just by the way he presents information, the way he presents the knowledge. A good caddy's never going to say, don't hit it here. And a great catcher is going to entice a pitcher to get the most out of him. And nobody does it better by his presentation, his information, and his preparedness. And I'm telling you, there's such a difference when you see it firsthand versus from afar. And that's the separator for me, that nobody has come really that close to being the kind of defensive catcher that he has been, and nobody has meant as much to an organization as he has meant to St. Louis over these 15+ years.
Over 2,000 hits for Molina, all-time ranks in franchise history. Top 5 in hits and doubles, 6th in ribbies, top 10 in home runs. One out, nobody on. Well, Kenny, we were talking to Adam Wainwright, as you heard, about future Hall of Fame possibilities for Yadier Molina. What say you?
I look forward to voting for Yadier Molina on the first ballot. And I understand the sabermetric argument against him. Maybe some numbers aren't where you want them. My goodness, watch the games. To me, it's not even close.
You know, Kenny's got a little fire when he just drops a watch the game on you. I mean, that's when you know he's got some passion. That's a good pitch on the corner. Ruled ball 2, 2-2.
A little bit up.
Further up this time, a full count. John, 6 games Yadi caught for you on the mound, but what it sounds like, those 6 games were enough to leave an impression.
It's impactful. I mean, you know, and again, I'm bandaged up at the end, just trying to finish it off, coming back from shoulder surgery, but I watched everything that he did, and nobody is more prepared than him, and nobody can get more out of a staff than he can, and just his uniqueness and presence. You know, when
Judge to his right for round number 2.
In a sense, when you see that hot goalie in hockey, where you know, man, it's going to be a tough day, it's like they have a presence about him, and as a catcher, he commands that presence behind the plate for that battery of pitcher and catcher, you know, connectiveness, and there's something special about it.
I once talked to a pitcher who, at the time when he worked with Yadi, was a young pitcher. And he said when Yadi came out for a mound visit, there was almost this feeling of you didn't want to let him down.
Right.
Gorman pops it away, foul. Gorman had a hard fly out to right field his first time up. Woo! 0-2. Cardinals have had some long at-bats in this game against Herman. Arenado a 10-pitch AB in the first. Dickerson an 8-pitch in this inning. Well, this will work.
Did he go? Are they checking? That's why they check if the guy goes. That little check swing. Beauty. Line drive. That would drive me crazy, by the way.
I can see why.
Make a pitch. But it's a line drive in our book. Got fooled, kind of held up, but got rewarded.
Two-out base runner. Goldschmidt takes a strike at the knees. Goldschmidt doubled his last time up. Now one double shy of 30 for the year. This will be his 9th such season when he gets to 30 doubles. If you go back since his first full year in the majors back in 2012 with Arizona, second most doubles in baseball, trailing only Freddie Freeman. He's 10 behind the now Dodger. Arenado, by the way, 4th in baseball in that same span. Laced towards the gap, right center field, and LeCastro bangs it off the wall. Gorman is waved home. The 30th double of the year results in an out at the plate. Gorman saying he's safe. Yankees are heading off the field. Cardinals video room no doubt taking a look at this. Will they challenge?
This was an incredible relay. With 2 outs, you're going with the crack of the bat. This is one you could put in your archives on how to throw a relay to gun somebody down at the plate. The slide on the outside part of the plate. Ooh, man.
There's no challenge for the Cardinals. Gorman cut down at home. And a run erased. All started by LeCastro in center. It remains 1-0. Now it's a 1-0 Cardinals lead still. Josh Donaldson leads off the 4th for the Yankees. Takes a quality pitch at the knees, but ruled ball 1.
We're going to be able to show you this again. Game of baseball can be such a game of inches, and just the reaction time it takes for things to happen, good or bad. And a bad 2-strike pitch was kind of, teammates bailed him out. 2-strike pitch was not very good, and this is a ball in the gap. So right away the runner knows he can go with 2 outs. But watch the relay system. Perfect throw, perfect angle, nothing wasted, and the release time and the throw right on the money. That's the difference, of course, between a 2-0 game and it still being a 1-0 game. But those are the things about baseball you practice in spring training, and you hope you get to perform them under the game type action. The tag, even perfect, set up by the catcher, that close.
Higashioka getting the start tonight behind home for the Yankees.
I mean, if that's later in the game, 7th inning, they're challenging that, in my opinion. It was that close.
Takes a run off the board. Second double tonight for Goldschmidt. Three balls and 1 strike to Donaldson, who walked his first time up. Big rip and a miss.
Talking to himself there, telling himself to make the pitch here on 3-2. Got an aggressive style hitter who's trying to lift the ball.
The payoff on the ground. Snared Arenado from a knee on a hop in time. Phenomenal play as always. Nolan Arenado. Nobody better.
Maybe they weren't listening to the broadcast, but you can't hit it to the third baseman. I mean, we've got a highlight reel for his career, but this right here, the presence and the timing to throw that ball, you can't waste any seconds, and he throws it from his knees, one hops it, and Goldschmidt picks it up, and Donaldson knows, my bad for hitting it there.
There's Gleyber Torres.
I mean, I just can't even begin to tell you, having seen so many different plays, the reaction time and the ability to get up and throw it on the money. Machado and Nolan Arenado, as good as it gets, getting the ball on target after making an unbelievable play with his glove.
Well, this year, I feel very comfortable saying this. This year, he will win his 10th Gold Glove.
Yeah.
He will win a Gold Glove all 10 seasons in the big leagues.
And that's not like getting selected to the All-Star game based on, you know, fan vote and popularity. That is because you are flat out the best in the game. And you know, you like to think every surface is the same and every field has, I mean, it just doesn't matter where he plays and what the ball does. His reaction and feel for the defensive side, he probably gets as much out of that than he does hitting a home run. And there's very few players you could say that about.
Now, best defensive third baseman in baseball, and every year in the conversation for the best defensive player in baseball. Still 1-2.
And you know what's interesting about how this team has been constructed? They don't have flamethrowers in their rotation. So they don't have a lot of swing and miss type guys in their rotation. So their defense is that much more important to their pitching staff than anybody else's, because they rely on pitching to contact and setting up their players for success where they're positioned.
27th in strikeout rate, Cardinals pitching staff.
And that's mainly because their bullpen. I mean, they might be in the starting rotation on the lower tier of strikeouts because their bullpen has some flamethrowers that are just having phenomenal stretches.
Hicks and Helsley both throw it as hard as you possibly can. Triple digits. 2-2.
Usually after you can bust a hitter in and make his feet move, some of the combinations will come with a changeup right off that fastball.
Working on pitch comm there. And Yadi's saying, need a new one. Working with Montgomery for the first time, acquired on Tuesday from these Yankees in exchange for Harrison Bader, who's currently on the injured list, Gold Glove center fielder. This was a trade, as we go down to Ken, that was a surprise to many, specifically Montgomery, as you've already documented. Ken, what do you make of the trade for both sides overall?
Aaron, the way the Yankees saw it, Jordan Montgomery, as good as he's been tonight, was not going to crack their postseason rotation. They've got Garrett Cole. They've got Frankie Montas making his Yankees debut tomorrow. Nestor Cortez Jr., an all-star. And come mid-September, Luis Severino coming off the injured list. Beyond that, there's Jameson Taillon. There's Domingo Germán, we're watching today. And also Clark Schmidt, who is pretty much ready to be a major league starter. So the Yankees felt, okay, we've got a little bit of a surplus there, even though they were trying right until the deadline to get another starter, a Pablo Lopez, a Carlos Rodon. The way they saw it as well, Harrison Bader is a significant upgrade for them in center field. That's their worst position defensively according to the defensive metrics. You heard Adam Wainwright say this is the best defensive center fielder in the game in his opinion. So with Bader, you get the defense, you get the speed, you get an offensive player who in 2020 and 21 was very good. Unfortunately, you just don't get him right away because he's on the injured list with plantar fasciitis in his right foot.
Yeah, there eager for him to come back off the injured list and make his Yankees debut. A New York guy from Bronxville. Montgomery was clearly frustrated as they were trying to figure out the pitch comm. Here's what Bader looks like in pinstripes. Gold Glover for the Cardinals. Now with New York. Former third-round draft pick by St. Louis. Gold Glove winner last year. One of 5 Gold Glove winners for the Cardinals a season ago. Grew up 11 miles from Yankee Stadium.
He's got to cut his hair, right?
I believe it's already happened.
There's the changeup.
A chase off the plate. Jordan Montgomery picks up his first strikeout in red.
Has good feel for this changeup. See how it comes off the. It's called the OK change. Make a symbol like OK with your hand, and it comes off the smaller fingers last, and has that spin rate of a fastball, but just doesn't get there. Never could throw it. And I had Maddox and Glavine try and show me every way they knew how. Could never throw that pitch.
First pitch strike to Carpenter. I mean, it's always said about the changeup, it is the field pitch.
Yeah, I just never could get enough speed off of it to have any kind of effectiveness.
Think they were just bad teachers?
You know what? I'm starting to think that might be the case.
I mean, you did pretty all right without him. An appeal he does not go. Did they have their numbers retired?
They
Other
did.
high school basketball team?
No, not at all. Although Maddox said he could dunk, I have no belief in that whatsoever. Zero. But he swears he could dunk. He could get up. Glavine, well-documented hockey player, so that one I couldn't say anything about.
I think Bill Ricca definitely retired his number. Yeah. Above the ice, if nothing else. At the knees. 1-2. Carpenter's last 2 years with the Cardinals, he hit just 176. 7 home runs. Back to the Matt Carpenter of old this year. And then some, really.
Well, it is amazing, and people are always trying to figure out what happened. How does a player go from the career he was having to falling off and then resurrecting his career and going to work and getting that feel mechanically? You lose mechanics, you lose feel. Talk about feel. It just becomes a scenario where you're lost. And give him credit, because the start of his career is a perseverance story if you get to know about it. And it's certainly serving him well for the latter part of his career.
Home run every 8 at-bats. When you look at it, since he made his Yankees debut in late May, only 4 players in baseball have hit more home runs. 2 of them are in his dugout, in Rizzo and Judge. Seager and Alvarez the other 2. But and this is the thing, he doesn't play every day. He could go days at a time without playing.
Sees about 7-8 pitches almost every time, it seems like.
To right field, Nootbaar makes the catch. Montgomery retires the side in order with a little bit of help from Nolan Arenado, who will get set to lead things off in the Cardinals' 4th. Nolan Arenado has driven in the game's only run. He leads off the bottom of the 4th with the ground ball smothered. A throw to first base in time. And Nolan gets Arenado. Connor Falefa handles it.
A little taste of his own medicine there. Shift was on, and the Yankee defense so vastly improved, and he's a big reason why.
Connor Falefa is just such an intriguing player when you look at how he came up with Texas. Won a Gold Glove at third base, has moved to shortstop, has played at second base, but most notably his time as a catcher years ago. He started over 60 games behind home plate for the Rangers early on in his big league career. Strike 2 quickly to O'Neill. Now I know he's not going back to being a catcher, obviously,
right,
but to be able to do that is remarkable.
Well, I mean, there's still attributes in our game that you have a knack for, or you're more predestined to be able to handle things like that, right? Not everybody can play multiple positions. You see some guys can and can't. I think it's a hand-eye coordination that certain guys have that are just a tick above the rest that make them a little bit different or put them in the elite level. And, you know, the position, the composite of the position has changed from the height, the strength, the speed, and all that. Shortstops typically are more of his size than the bigger version. Although don't tell the Pirates that. They got a 6'7" shortstop over there with a cannon.
He's just hitting tanks and throwing a ball 100 miles an hour to first base every time you look up. 6'7" is right. Yeah, O'Neill Cruz in one game had the hardest thrown ball by an infielder, had the hardest hit ball of the game, recorded the fastest sprint speed that night. I mean, surpassed Tatis for the hardest thrown infield ball in the StatCast era. I mean, he's a StatCast freak. Still 2-2 to O'Neill. RBI base hit last night for O'Neill.
Speaking of freaks, that's a regular size jersey. That's not his jersey. That's too small. You know, some guys wear mediums to make themselves look bigger.
Well aware.
He's definitely pretty jacked.
Apple doesn't fall far from the tree. His dad, Terry O'Neill, Mr. Canada back in 1975. That's the top bodybuilder. Yeah. I know you competed domestically. But for those who are in the dark.
Lightweight division.
Here comes the payoff. Rips through a fastball for out number 2. First strikeout for Herman. Now it's good to have Arnold Schwarzenegger for scale.
Oh, stunt double.
Yes, and I'm not sure how many monthly subscribers there were to Combat Magazine, but our thanks to ma-mags.com for the photo there. It might not have been circulated greatly, but hey, he was on the cover of a magazine, shirtless.
Yeah,
worth something. Nootbaar finds his counterpart Judge in right field, and Herman retires the side in order. 4 complete. A warm night in St. Louis. Memorable games of the season. The Field of Dream games, the first of its kind. Tim Anderson walking off these Yankees. And we do it again this year. Coverage begins on Thursday, 6 p.m. Eastern on Fox and the Fox Sports app. The Reds and the Cubs this time around. Well, they just gave Montgomery something to drink. Looking at the Cardinals bullpen.
might be a little bit of, at times when it gets this humid, you know, you worry about cramping, you worry about a little dehydration, and that sometimes comes into play. And that's the worst thing a pitcher can do. You see him moving his legs, so you don't want your calf at all to feel like it's cramping. You got no chance to pitch, and you've got to be able to drive off that without it catching. And that's, I'm sure, what they're trying to find out. When it gets hot and you feel like you're, you know, need a little bit of something, that's what they gave him. but you can't have any apprehension pushing off the rubber. I know pitchers get a lot of grief because, you know, they really can't afford a finger issue, a blister, or anything that kind of seems minor in the scope of sports, but you need everything working in your favor to deliver a pitch, where other positions you can play through certain injuries that you just can't as a pitcher.
Fortunately, he says he's all right. He's faced the minimum twice in the first 4 innings. Got out of a big jam in the first, a double play ball. Faces Aaron Hicks to lead off the top of the 5th for New York. First pitch missing badly.
You'll be able to tell here. I mean, he's still kind of thinking about it. It looks like he's trying to be as ginger as he can, and Mike Maddox won't spend much time waiting to see if he's not crisp in this inning and favoring it at all. They're gonna make a move.
Foul ground and into the crowd. That first pitch, 74 miles an hour. That was by far the slowest pitch tonight.
Breaking ball, but I can speak to many different things of trying to chase a win with a big lead and a pulled hamstring, and you're like, I'm not coming out until that 5th inning's over, and sometimes it does more harm than good, and they're going to keep a watchful eye, I'm sure, on him.
Maddox looking on. Right back up the middle, snared on a hop. Gorman from the outfield grass.
I would say no matter what, this will be his last inning. Just trying to guess ahead of what, you know, you make a trade for a player and you want that player to be here, and you don't want any trickle down effect of just trying to get through 5 innings.
There is Isaiah Kiner-Falefa. He's batting over 300, 313 in fact, since the start of July. That includes a 15-game hitting streak that has since ended. That's the longest hit streak by a Yankee this year. Chop off the plate. Arenado waits for it. Halfway to second, makes the play. A couple of ground ball outs.
And in a weird way, sometimes you might actually stay back a little bit longer, and there's all kinds of things that you can get out of a pitching performance, especially when you're making your debut. But
are you saying if there's some type of,
yeah, sometimes you actually, I mean, what you don't want to do is favor something and hurt something else. But if it kicks in a mechanical cue to stay back and be lighter on your feet, that can work to your advantage too, especially when you're trying to sink the ball and you're not trying to blow the ball by everybody. But you can tell those two right there have not stopped staring at their pitcher on the mound, looking for any signs of either, okay, he's good, or we better do something different.
He's had a quick inning so far. Gets ahead of LeCastro 0-2. And we don't normally go picture in picture for the pitching coach this long, but this is uncharted territory. The 0-2.
Yeah, that's my first experience of seeing a vitamin / energy drink at the mound. Cup of tea with that, or you know, it's just you don't see it very often out on the field. You see it in the dugout.
Surprised they didn't bring him a banana while they were at it.
I mean, 30 years ago we took salt tablets, no lie, when it was hot in Atlanta. You learn how to train for that heat, just like I'm sure everyone in Colorado trains differently. And when you're a visitor and you go to Colorado, you can't catch your breath. Well, when it's hot and humid and you go to a place where you haven't used to it, let's say the West Coast comes over, you feel like you've already pitched 8, 9 innings, and so you definitely try to have short innings when it's muggy and hot.
Montgomery trying to put the cap on a short inning here. The 1-2. Another ground ball out. 9 of them, in fact, for Jordan Montgomery in his Cardinals debut. He spends 5 scoreless against this deadly Yankees lineup. Bottom third of the order for St. Louis. It starts with shortstop Paul DeYoung. 78 pitches for Domingo Germán. There is activity inside Aaron Boone's bullpen. He has Ron Marinaccio warming up. Germán, remember, making only his 4th start this year. Donaldson right by the shoelaces. Made that look easy. Leadoff man sat down quickly. Tonight's telecast is sponsored by Allstate, reminding you that baseball season is mayhem. And by Hyundai, it's your journey. Now, some of the all-time greats between these two historic franchises. 1964, Cardinals defeating these Yankees in the World Series in 7 games. And the great Bob Gibson spinning a complete game in the 7th game of that series. He struck out 9. Strike 1 called to Yadier Molina. You know, they always talk about how mean Bob Gibson looked when he was up on the mound. I mean, he was real mean.
Yeah, he was mean in batting practice.
I mean, he looked like he pitched angry. Well, the all-timers.
He's pitched angry and changed the game of baseball. It's because of him, really. The mound was changed. That's how dominant he was.
Two outs. Roy Dickerson, the batter.
Yeah, Domingo made some bad pitches early and really got away with it, and only gave up 1 run. He's been really good since, getting the ball down, changing speeds, and really missing the heart of the plate.
Strike 1.
We're going to see a totally different contrast of when the bullpens take over for this game. It will be more like you're used to seeing, 100 miles an hour. Versus this style of pitching, which, you know, is refreshing for a change to see the defense work, put the ball in play, not a lot of strikeouts, but a 1-0 game nonetheless.
Trevino now warming up, a clean-shaven Lou Trevino, former Oakland A. Two outs, 2 strikes. A weak wave and a miss. Germán, 1 run over 5, faces the minimum for the 3rd time. Next Saturday, it's Baseball Night in America on Fox as Aaron Judge and these Yankees head to Fenway to take on Rafael Devers and the Red Sox, or the Mariners continue their hunt for the wild card against the Rangers. It all begins next Saturday, 7 Eastern on Fox. Check local listings for the game in your area. Jordan Hicks spent some time with the rotation this year. Back to the bullpen now. The flamethrower is up on the hill to work the 6th inning.
Yeah, power sinker. He doesn't necessarily strike out a lot, but he's going to hit triple digits and have late movement to try to create soft contact. And this these two bullpens have a lot of power in it, but the Cardinals really are riding 2, 3 really hot guys to close this thing out against a really vaunted lineup in the Yankees, leading the world in just about every offensive category.
There's 99 for a strike. Montgomery in his Cardinals debut, 83 pitches, 5 scoreless, just a couple of hits. What an odd way to start your Cardinals career, facing the team for whom you played for just days ago.
You know, I've been in these kind of series where if you're asked as a player, you're going to lie to the media, but this is truly a gauge for the St. Louis Cardinals going up against the Yankees. And what I mean by that, it's a big series that each player kind of mentally, they kind of gauge where they're at against one of the best teams in the league. And last night's victory was huge for that man and his team, and he said it. He said you feel the sense of where we are at when you face teams like this, because
strike 3 call. He froze him.
Because it's natural when you're playing the game and you recognize what's around you, and a team that's got 70 wins is that far ahead of you, you want to take the series. And last night was one step towards doing that, and the Cardinals got a pretty good schedule coming up here that's going to really kind of differentiate themselves on where they belong in this playoff race.
Lineup card turns over. Here is LeMahieu, 0 for 2 tonight. 100-mile-an-hour fastball for a strike. Okay, explain this. One of the hardest throwers in baseball, and you referenced this already. How does he not strike out more hitters than he does?
Well, because he has that lateral movement to where the hitters actually see it a little bit more than a 4-seam fastball backspin. And so you're actually kind of finding, as you look at this replay of a slider, that when a ball goes the opposite way of what you're used to seeing, he's just naturally gifted with a 2-seamer. He feels better. A 4-seamer has more late life to it, and that has the illusion of a pitch you can't catch up to. See, that's a great pitch, and it's going to be hard to hit when he dots it like that. But if he leaves it over the middle, even at 100 miles an hour, you've got a chance to get the barrel of the bat to it.
Hard pitch to call a strike. Yeah. Apparently also right there on the corner. 2-1. Split the arrow.
See, and that's why even when we have this conversation about the electric strike zone, be careful what you wish for from a hitting standpoint, because those pitches right there may be called a strike. And I've always been the advocate of taking the strike zone down so that the velocity we have in the game gives hitters an equal chance to try to make contact down. They can't make contact up.
This time missing inside. LeMahieu, a 1-out walk, and now a man is aboard for Judge.
Well, Judge, he has power everywhere. He has power to opposite field. He can hit the ball up. He can hit the ball down. Nobody has more home runs down than he does. He's so strong that the different baseball this year has really not slowed down his ability to mash a lot of homers.
Jammed him at 101. Down to Kenny.
The Cardinals have said that Jordan Montgomery was removed from tonight's game for precautionary reasons because he was suffering from leg cramps.
Okay, thank you, Ken.
That's what it looked like.
A very good debut, nevertheless.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, 2.
See, that pitch is the difference maker. Because he has something that can turn the corner, the hitters from the right-hand side are looking for balls that are coming into him, right? That the ball has a lateral movement in. If he can get the ball away, especially on the outside part right now, Judge would not be able to hit it.
Well, he makes contact with a pitch just off the plate, but weak contact. That's what you dream of facing Judge. 2 outs.
First fastball, he just absolutely beats him to the barrel, almost like it surprised him that it got in on that spot. The next one, he fools him on a breaking ball that's actually right in the middle of the plate. Then he gets a breaking ball on the outside part of the plate, but that's not outside enough. because he really, against a guy like Judge, you've got to make sure it's off the plate and get him to swing over the top of it. But nonetheless, you'll take soft contact anytime you get it out of him.
2 outs, a man aboard for Donaldson. A wave and a miss. Well, Hicks has gone strike 1 to every batter he's faced this inning.
See, Donaldson's he's the type of hitter that's not coming off a fastball. So that swing right there, he was hoping that he hangs the breaking ball and it looks more like a fastball because he wants to hit a fastball.
And he checks at 102 and he goes.
And that's what you can do to a guy who's overly aggressive, trying to get the barrel of the bat going. He's got that aggressive style leg kick. So now don't throw anything close to the strike zone with 2 strikes.
Does that increase your odds of a slider off the plate?
It does. I mean, he can bury it down, or he can bury a fastball up.
Well, so far off, it gets past Molina, and it gets LeMahieu into second.
You know what's interesting about that pitch? That was the best break he had. So he really tried to bury it off the plate, and that break obviously got by one of the best in the game. But this ball really turned the corner.
So now, with that wild pitch, Yankees have the tie-in run and scoring position here in the top of the 6th with 2 outs. The 1-2. He got him swinging on a slider. Hicks strands LeMahieu, and the Cardinals maintain the lead. We'll be on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube, so you don't miss a thing in 2022. Ron Marinaccio is up on the mound. He will spend the bottom of the 6th for the Yankees. Domingo Germán done after 5 innings. Top of the order. Carlson takes a strike in 96.
Well, you saw the fastball. He's got a fastball and a slider and a change. And you see the numbers his last 18 games. I'd say he's in a groove. The Yankees bullpen is going to be huge down the stretch. They've lost some people and they've gained some people.
One ball and 1 strike to Dylan Carlson. Well, the pitching has really been the thing recently for the Yankees. We know what they've done to address their rotation. Frankie Montas will start tomorrow. He'll make his Yankees debut. One of the biggest names on the trade market in terms of starting pitchers. Swings and misses at a pitch off the plate. Montas, acquired by the Yankees from the Athletics. 32 starts last year, led the league. Look at his numbers last 2 seasons within the division with his previous ball club against the Astros at 2-2-1. 38 strikeouts to 10 walks. One of the harder throwers. He will debut for the Yankees tomorrow. Here is Gorman with 1 out. Marinaccio really known for that changeup. He's a Toms River North High School grad. He grew up a Yankees fan in New Jersey and made the opening day roster this year. He had Tommy John in high school.
It was great action. You see the bottom drop out of it. He's got a firm fastball at 96, which really sets up the arm action for what looks like a fastball coming out of his glove, and then just the ball drops, disappears. See what if you're at home and you're wondering how in the world did a guy swing at a pitch that far? Well, he's seeing the pitch come out of the hand, anticipating it's going to have carry to the plate, and it never does. And then once you see a few of those, unless you're totally a free swinger, then you start changing the eye level of that pitch and you can stay off of it. But it's not that easy, and that's why it's .001 or .002 is the time you have to make a decision whether that's a swing or not.
Well, Castro's had a fairly quiet night in center field. He has it come right to him. 2 up and 2 down from Marinaccio.
You know, I know we have all information about everything, every dot of the strike zone, every area, where to throw it. But the information you used to always gauge for yourself is certain hitters and their ability to either catch up to a fastball, stay off of a breaking ball, know when they want to swing. Are they aggressive? Are they patient? Those are all the information we had. Now it's just narrowed down to every centimeter of where you throw the ball and what they do and what they can't do. It's a lot of information, and you can access it in the right way to better your career.
Is there something you know of now that you wish you had when you were pitching?
I mean, that's a good question. I always wanted the information, kind of what I just spit out, and I didn't want to overload. You know, I have a simple brain, and I didn't want, you know, not maybe. I'm a Dumb and Dumber fan, so that just tells you what kind of simple brain I have. But I just didn't want to overload it with information. I wanted to pitch off of my strengths. I wanted to know what a guy liked. If he was hot, does he want to swing? Will he take a walk? If you give me that information, I know accordingly what I'm going to do and how I'm going to attack it in, you know, depending if there's a runner on second. Under the gun, if he's a 3-2 neutral, he wants to swing. Well, I don't have to throw a strike. So pitching becomes a lot easier if you don't have to throw strikes. Pitching becomes very difficult if hitters make you throw strikes. And then if you don't have secondary pitches that you can come back with, you're basically staring down a tunnel where the hitters are going to have a field day off of you when you do lay one in there.
Falls behind Goldschmidt here, 3-0. Center cut, 97. Arenado would be next. Goldschmidt a pair of doubles tonight, another 30 double season. Splits the outside edge at 97.
So now you know with Goldschmidt, you can't just spin one in the dirt. He's going to swing wildly. You still have to make a really good pitch. Now you've thrown 2 fastballs after it's 3-0. Do you come in with an off speed here on 3-2 and try to fool him? You did not.
Misses wide with the heater. 2-out walk. For more on Goldschmidt, Kenny?
Well, his attention to detail is unparalleled, guys. And there's a story that Matt Carpenter tells. It's brilliant. During one of Goldschmidt's first spring trainings with the Cardinals, he took every bat that he planned to use for the season, maybe 50 or 60 in all. He measured the exit velocities off each one. Then he had a team employee develop a chart to show him which bats produced the best results. Goldschmidt then took the bats, divided them according to the quality of the wood, separating the ones he would use in batting practice from the ones he would use in games.
It's incredible. I love that story, Kenny. I'm so glad you could share it. That's next level stuff. We've got a pitching change. Trevino's coming in with 2 outs and a man aboard. One of the newest Yankees, Lou Trevino, coming over from Oakland in the Montas deal, making his 3rd appearance for the Yankees. Inherits a man with 2 outs facing Arenado.
You're seeing more moves like this because of the new rule, in my opinion. You come into the game, you must face 3 hitters unless you come into the game with 2 outs and get the last out. So you got a right-hander who was kind of cruising, and you bring in another right-hander to face Arenado. This right-hander, by the way, will throw a bevy of fastball / cutters, and he'll accompany that with a curveball and a changeup.
He's got a live arm. Has been hit hard this year with the A's, however. Woo. 1-2. Opposing hitters batting over 400 against his sinker this year. Over 330 against his 4-seamer. Goldschmidt back in that with the dive safe. Goldschmidt aboard for the third time tonight. A couple of doubles and a walk. Arenado's driven in the game's only run. Swings and misses, chases off the plate. Trevino strikes out Arenado, and he strands Goldschmidt at first.
I had to flip this track again, y'all.
Cardinals lead 1-0. We go to the top of the 7th. Gleyber Torres leads it off for the Yankees. Hicks remains on the mound for the Cardinals. There it is. And Torres fouls away a 99-mile-an-hour fastball for strike one.
Last 2 weeks, Torres has struggled against right-handed pitching, and that's covered about 11 games. And right now, Hicks is on the attack. Now, Torres will go the other way with fastballs, especially high-velocity fastballs. That's why they don't have a true shift on him.
Rung him up at the knees. Third strikeout for Hicks, his second looking. Here comes Matt Carpenter.
A good slider on the bottom part of the zone, and Hicks will be given a pretty good hand when he's taken out of this game.
And this is Cabrera warming up inside Ollie Marmol's bullpen. Cabrera's coming in with 1 out and the base is empty. The app with coverage of in-game highlights, pitch-by-pitch features, select live broadcast coverage and more. You won't miss a beat. Download the MLB app today. Can you tell your pass list to tone it down a notch?
They're excited. It's a close game, 1-0.
And this is Cabrera fans.
Oh, you see the numbers on Cabrera. Hard throwing left-hander. Sometimes he loses that feel and command of the strike zone. He's going to go fastball, curveball, changeup.
This is Carpenter. Takes a strike.
And in a system and a game that really focuses on matchups and more pitchers per game, I know you may be sitting at home going, Hicks was dealing. What are they doing taking him out? But this is the style of where they utilize guys in moments and parts and fractions of a game.
Just missing, a ball and a strike. And they're trying to be very careful with Carpenter. He has hit lefties well this year.
No batting gloves, trying to use and feel his hands as he swings the barrel of the bat. Not many guys in the game will call that raw dog, where you got no you just got no batting gloves. You want to feel the rawness of your hands and that tape on the bat.
Feels like an off season of recovery. First pitch that has him in a curveball. 2-2. Opposing hitters batting .059 against Cabrera's curveball this year. There's a reason why he's thrown it a lot. Throwing more of them this year than last year. 1 out to shift on. The 2-2. Foul ball. Still 3 balls and 2 strikes to Carpenter.
Well, you could tell that this guy is comfortable at the plate because you know what? He's never going to have 4 at-bats where he sees 8 pitches. He might see 8 pitches in all 4 at-bats, so 32 pitches in his combined at-bats. He does a great job in being able to pick the one he likes, and if you make a great pitch on him, he's going to bet that you can't do that 3 times.
This will be the 20th pitch thrown to Carpenter tonight. High lift out towards right center field. Carlson covering some ground onto the warning track, and he puts it away for out number 2. That brings up Hicks with 2 outs.
Might have been gone in Yankee Stadium, but we're not playing in Yankee Stadium. It's a much bigger ballpark, and the ball really doesn't. There's very few times where the ball just jumps out of here. For whatever reason, the ball doesn't carry quite as much. A fair ballpark, I would call it.
I feel like you would call any pitcher ballpark a fair ballpark.
Well, absolutely.
Let's consider the source.
Still mad the Astrodome's not still around.
There is strike 1 to Aaron Hicks. Hicks trying to snap out of an 0 for 32 slide. Now, 0 fors happen. 0 for a series happens. Even 0 for a 4-game series. But I have to imagine you're a big league hitter. Somewhere on that path to 0 for 30, you're noticing. And you're feeling it.
Feeling it. You're numb. You don't know what's going on. You feel like every time you go to the plate, it's 0-2. And on the flip side, a pitcher that's going bad, you feel like you're pitching everything 3-1.
Swing and a miss in the zone. It's 0-2.
I mean, every sport has a mental capacity and mental toughness. I don't know of another sport where the mental toughness and the mental kind of grind could get you any more than this one. 162 of those games. Get it?
Just never a break.
No. And that's why the ebbs and flow of this season really takes a special manager to believe in you, because you know the fan base is going to jump on and off the bandwagon. They're going to let you hear it, and I'm sure at home they're letting Aaron Hicks hear it. And you start pressing, and it's not a good sport to press.
You can't try harder.
No. Football, you can try harder. You can hit harder. You could do things that take out your feelings. Baseball, not so much. Hockey, yes. Basketball, maybe. A hard foul here or there.
Back Carlson's way towards the gap. He puts it away. Cabrera retires both men that he sees. And the Yankees send the minimum to the plate as we stretch.
Ball is a high drive into deep left center field. Buckner goes back to the fence. It is gone.
Little roller up along first. Behind the bag. It gets through Buckner. Here comes Knight, and the Mets win it. High fly ball into right field. She is gone. In a year that has been so improbable, the impossible has happened.
Now we lost the all-time greatest, Vince Scully, passing away at the age of 94. Something in to O'Neill. What a sad day.
Yeah, sure is. I mean, we were talking to Adam Wainwright earlier, and he talked about charting inside. Well, I grew up my whole career charting inside off the TV because that was the best angle. And when we'd go to Dodger Stadium, of course, that was Vince doing the games. And we would chart and listen and learn things about ourselves. And just the way he presented the story and presented the game, and you know, in a weird way, you could hear because you charted and listened to all he was saying, you wondered when you were on the mound what he was going to say about you when you were on the mound.
Judge near the chalk, and he makes the catch in foul territory. Takes an at-bat away from Tyler O'Neill. One out. There is Newbar. He stings this to center field. Newbar picks up his first base hit of the night. Let's go back to LA. Kevin Burkhardt with a game break. KB. My goodness, talk about domination in a couple of starts to a really good lineup, obviously. Mets atop the East by 4.5. Here is DeYoung as a close play at first base. Newbar safe.
Mets are loaded. They are. This is the best chance they have, and those fan base, man, you would sit there and you could just feel their sense of like, this is our year. When so many things have gone awry, this team has got depth, and National League is top heavy with the top 4 teams.
That's laced foul. Now feels like a much different team under Buck.
No doubt, but they also did everything they had to do in the offseason
for sure
to make sure that their lineup was better, much better. Their bullpen's much better, and of course their rotation, adding Max Scherzer without the services till recently of Jacob deGrom. So the depth of their team can handle what's been the storyline for so many years: injuries, injuries, injuries. And just when the Braves got close, the Mets have kind of run on a nice little run here since the All-Star break.
DeYoung had the game-winning base hit last night, a 2-run double late. Now falls behind here 0-2. Got off to a miserable start to begin the year. Was optioned down to AAA Memphis. DeYoung, a former all-star shortstop, power hitting shortstop. Came back a week ago tonight in DC. Has looked much better. Now last night against Clay Holmes, first pitch. This gave the Cardinals the lead and helped wrap up a Game 1 win for the Redbirds.
That was with 2 outs, right? I believe so. Yeah. I wonder if what hits like that do for your confidence when you've been struggling on the year.
1 out, 1 on. For more Kenny.
One thing interesting about DeYoung's return is they basically have given him back the shortstop job. And when he came back, General Manager John Mozeliak told him, "You are a major league shortstop." There was no guarantee of playing time, but manager Ollie Marmol said, "I want to take a look at this guy," and they basically reshuffled their infield on the fly, going back to where they were at the start of the season.
Hey, look at what the Cardinals, I mean, this is a good problem to have, right? You have DeYoung, who's an all-star shortstop. You have Tommy Edman, who is on the bench right now, Gold Glove winning second baseman. And then you have Nolan Gorman, really has played third base, but they transitioned to second. He's mashing, batting second. And then Brendan Donovan, who just plays everywhere. Another rookie. That'll be a good challenge for Ollie Marmol to figure out. You got a couple of young guys. You want them to get at bats. You don't want them sitting around.
Yeah, that's the challenge. I mean, managing I know a lot of people want to say, how hard can it be to manage? Well, you know what? You're managing men, and you're managing the ability to keep some fresh and some hot and some ready to go.
Full count. Molina waiting on deck. Here comes the payoff. Ground ball, fair ball. Donaldson, long throw coming. On target, on time. What a throw by Donaldson. Still getting it done over there at third base.
Oh, that was a great throw. He slipped a little bit when he planted his foot, but still had enough on the throw. You'll see how deep he is when he makes this. He gets a little foot slip right there and then regathers and throws a bullet over to first. Now here's Yachty. Yachty is one of those guys he guesses, I think, as a hitter. He strategizes what a pitcher's going to do. First at bat, he swung at the first pitch. Second at bat, he came in and just took the first two, ended up striking out. These are the situations that would make me nervous facing Yachty, no matter what his average is, because he's looking to jump you on the first pitch and drive in that run. So he's up there looking one particular pitch that he thinks you're going to throw, and he usually lets the bat go. Let's see what he does here with a man on second.
Swings away, jammed at 95.
And there he probably got beat looking for something off speed, and that fastball beat him. That's why you saw the late swing. The timing of Yachty's not the same. He's coming back off that knee injury, and certainly he's looking for a hanger. He's looking for something over the middle of the plate that he can catch a gap.
Oh, 2. Nootbaar, the runner at second base. Soft serve, shallow center. Gleyber Torres has it come right to him for out number 3. Nootbaar stranded, 7 in the books in St. Louis. Cardinals a slim 1-0 lead. MLB TV is now $64.99. Watch all out-of-market regular season games live or on demand. Plus MLB Big Inning. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.tv for details. Full house on hand tonight. Isaiah Kiner-Falefa leads things off in the top of the 8th inning. Cardinals lead at 1-0. Strike 1. Aaron Boone has seen his lineup scuffle since Andre Pallante spun 4 scoreless last night. Since Pallante took the hill last night in game 1. 4 for last 35 Yankees hitters. $48,581. The paid attendance tonight. It's the largest announced crowd in Busch Stadium history. More than the 09 All-Star game, more than any World Series game. Ballpark opened up in 2006.
I'm guessing standing room. They didn't have seats all of a sudden, did they?
Standing room very high up there. That doesn't count Ballpark Village. Even all the way up in Big Mac land. Two balls and 2 strikes to Kiner-Falefa. way high and outside. 3-2.
Well, a lot of buzz in this division that the Cardinals are fighting for when they made some maybe not as big of moves that maybe some of the fans would have liked to see, but moves nonetheless to improve their ball club. And a strange kind of trade with the co-division leaders, the Brewers trading their closer to the Padres.
That's a bad miss for ball 4. Couple of bad misses. Leadoff walk. Tonight's telecast is sponsored by Progressive Insurance. Protect the stuff you love with Renters Insurance. And by Jersey Mike Subs. Be a sub above. Free mound visit here. Benintendi announced as a pinch hitter. Oh yeah, John, to your point, things have not gone well in Brewer land.
No, and of course they're going to right away talk about has nothing to do. One has nothing to do with the other, but the timing of getting swept after you just traded the best closer in baseball can't, for the morale of your team, feel great when you're trying to win a division, even though they may in theory be deeper. I've never seen a trade like that with a team that is winning a division where the team felt better having gone through that kind of scenario.
And they trade Hader and then get swept by the Pirates in 3 games. They blow a late lead in all 3, including 2 straight walk-offs. Here's Benintendi. Kenny, can you help shed some light on the Brewers' rationale of that trade?
I can. And Josh Hader is going to make a lot of money next year in his last year of arbitration, then become a free agent. So they traded him. They were a little frustrated with him. He preferred to pitch only 1 inning. They felt their bullpen got deeper and more versatile with the relievers that they added. Taylor Rogers, Matt Bush, Trevor Rosenthal. The problem is, in my opinion, guys, if you're going to do that to your clubhouse and have that emotional impact, you need to counter it with a bigger move, bringing in somebody. If they could have brought in a hitter, someone like, I don't know, Josh Bell, who of course went to the Padres in the Soto trade, perhaps then the clubhouse would have reacted differently. But now they're a bit reeling.
Well, there's no question about that.
I mean, we ain't got enough time for me to get going.
We should have started this in the 4th.
So I'll just leave it at that. Good reporting, Kenny.
1 out and 1 on. Higashioka the batter. This is badly for ball 1. Yankees enter play tonight a half game better than the Astros for the best record in the American League. Since the start of July, Yankees 14-16. In that same stretch, the Astros 22-11 to pull within a half game. Yankees very much trying to secure home field advantage.
Well, I'll tell you, I like some of the changes that are coming, by the way, next year. And one of those changes, I believe, hopefully will be a balanced schedule. There needs to be a balanced schedule in our sport, because you're talking about the Yankees in the East and the Astros in the West. The Astros are a great team, but if everybody plays everybody, then you truly get to find out who the best team is. Instead of one year your division is really bad and vice versa. So I hope we get to that balanced schedule. I hope that the playoff system works like I think it's going to work and rewards the teams that fight to the end to get the best record.
And starting next year, every team will play every other team, not just whatever division from the other league your particular league is assigned to. You will lose a series within your own division as a result.
That is fine.
This is into right field. Nootbaar closes, dives. Did he trap it or make the catch? He made the catch! Back-to-back nights with a gem in right field from Lars Nootbaar.
Well, this one right here, on a scale of difficulty, is about as hard as it gets. This ball is coming in, and he gets his glove in a position as he dives to make a really great catch. That ball easily could have handcuffed him, and he was able to make that play and keep this game right where it is. Whew.
They're all pointing out to right field. And steps LeMahieu.
Safe to say this will be the last hitter with Judge on deck.
On the ground. DeYoung, a little flip. Gorman covers. Lars Nootbaar been putting on a clinic out there in right field the last couple of nights against the Yankees. This just the latest. Telecast is sponsored by Verizon, the network America relies on, and by Liberty Mutual Insurance. Only pay for what you need. And one of the greats, Roger Maris, suited up for both these franchises. Of course, back-to-back MVP seasons, including the 61 homer campaign in '61. And he finished his career in Cardinal red in '67 and '68. Cardinals lead at 1-0 as we turn the page to the bottom of the 8th. And what a matchup this is setting up to be. A couple of guys who know each other well. Aroldis Chapman climbs the hill for the Yankees. And pinch hitting for the Cardinals, Albert Pujols.
Well, Albert Pujols may not have the bat speed he once did, but he can still hit a mistake and hit a ball middle to middle up, and he's going to get some velocity from Mr. Chapman.
Everybody saved their batteries for the 8th inning. And nearly everybody up on their feet, except for those behind home plate. Runs inside. Clear splits this year for Pujols against lefties. 4 home runs though against right-handers, but batting nearly 3 1/4 against southpaws. A wave and a miss at 97. Benintendi remains in the game for Hicks in left field. Hicks moves to center where LeCastro got the start. Two and one.
Albert Pujols in his prime, of course, much younger here when he was with St. Louis, just sat in that batter's box like he was sitting in a rocking chair, and there was no pitch that came in that he couldn't handle, and handled with power and average. And now it's just a little bit more work for him as you get up there in age. Bat speed's not quite the same, your eyesight's not quite the same, but it's not because he is nervous about the situation. He's just a little less talented than he was when he dominated the game for 10 years.
And everybody in attendance hoping they see one of the final home runs in the Hall of Fame career of Albert Pujols. 686, 5th most in baseball history. He has announced this is the final year. Full count. What a sensational career. third most ribbies, third in extra base hits, those 686 home runs, fifth all time. 3-2 as Pujols leads off the bottom of the eighth. High for ball four.
Really surprised by those last two split fingers from Chapman. Velocity is and will beat Pujols, but he went with the off speed, and Pujols got a walk.
And his night comes to a close quickly. Brendan Donovan, rookie pinch runner. Donovan at first base for Dylan Carlson. He's breaking something down there for Goldschmidt. Last time the Yankees, by the way, lost 1-0. You have to go back to August of 2020 at the Trop. Donovan takes off. LeMahieu's throw, tag, and they got him. Kiner Falefa right there covering. And that leadoff walk is erased.
I'm going to tell you something. What goes unnoticed is the play that LeMahieu makes. When we see this replay, there's no way he throws him out if he doesn't come to the ball and release it all in one motion. It was a huge jump, and LeMahieu, a middle infielder, understands how quick to get rid of the ball, and he did. Right on the money. And bang, bang. They got him.
Well, Chapman was keeping a close eye on him. It pays off. One out, base is now clean.
Have to see how Mr. Chapman does with a pitch clock next year.
You know, I've talked to some people in the game who feel like that'll be something that will be a learned skill and won't be a problem. What do you think? Will that be an issue for some guys?
It's not going to be, honestly, it's not going to be an issue for pitchers. It's going to be an issue for hitters. Hitters are processing so much information. Right now they're using their computer to go, okay, it's 2-0, this is what he does, da, 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 da. And they're trying to process. You'll have more hitters delay the game in theory than pitchers do. So it will really be up to the hitters to stay in the box. I think pitchers will adjust just fine.
Price a check, gets a strike. Not official that there will be a pitch clock next year, but and shift restrictions also, but it is common belief.
It's coming to a ballpark near you, like a theater, you know.
At some point soon.
It's coming soon. When they're working on it in the minor leagues, that means they are preparing to bring it into the big leagues.
Finds the new man, Benintendi. 2 outs. This Thursday, August 11th, you have a free chance to win $10,000 of Big Papi's money. Simply scan the QR code, download the Fox Bet Super 6 app, and enter your 6 picks for a free chance at a $10,000 jackpot.
You know what I found interesting is last night, you know, the Cardinals manager talked about his pitcher needing to increase his time because he's a sinker baller where if infielders are going to be your best friend, you want them ready to go and not on the back of their heels because you're taking so much time.
And Dakota Hudson, Ollie Marmol, very honest about that in his post-game comments. Tommy Edman pinch hitting for Nolan Gorman. Takes a swing and a miss.
In a perfect world, which I know we'll never have, when we had that fun little interaction at the All-Star game with the pitcher mic'd and the catcher mic'd, think about how quick that would be. Hey, what do you think? Fastball away. Good. Boom. Gone. Here we go. Like positive command. Here, I want to throw a slider away. there's no ifs, ands, or buts when your communication is direct.
Which catcher would you have most wanted that with?
Oh, there's a few. I don't, certainly don't want to call them out here on national TV, but there's a few I would love to have been direct.
Well, I was referring more to would you have enjoyed?
Oh yeah. No, I would have enjoyed my, obviously the caddies for me now, Greg Olson. We had a great relationship when you're working together, you never have to shake.
Judge is tracking this. It stays in fair ground. And he makes the squeeze for out number 3. We go to the 9th inning. The Yankees trying to avoid a shutout. Down to their final 3 outs. Greatest games in recent memory. Major League Baseball returns to the place where dreams come true. Relive the magic when the Reds take on the Cubs for one game in heaven. One game at the Field of Dreams. Coverage begins Thursday, 6 p.m. Eastern on Fox and the Fox Sports app. Hope you've got your wardrobe picked out already, John.
Oh, I do. I'll be wearing whatever it is, right? The funky hat. I don't care. It was hot last time, though.
StatCast powered by Google Cloud. We examine the exit velo for Aaron Judge this year, and he is tied with Yordan Alvarez. Nobody has hit the ball harder on average more than Judge. Meanwhile, Gallegos takes over on the mound. Helsley has gone back-to-back games, so Gallegos will be facing 2, 3, and 4 in the Yankees order here in the 9th. High ball 1 to Judge. Cardinals have contained him so far tonight, 1 for 3 with a single.
Fastball slider change, and you're right. Isley's not going to throw 3 days in a row. It hasn't happened all year. And as badly as you would like to bring him in right now, you're going to Gallegos.
Two 2-0. Donaldson on deck. Gallegos, a former Yankee, acquired by the Cardinals, part of the Luke Voigt deal back near the deadline in 2018.
Can't miss middle in. You will not get the ball back. Ooh.
Foul ball, 2-1.
He's got off speed, and this one backed up, and this is the one he probably gets lucky that he's going to get to throw another one. Aaron Judge has basically taken away one part of the plate. Now you always have the away, down and away, outside part of the plate where you can go, but you cannot leak one out over the middle, inner third of the plate. It'll go to Big Mac land.
That's a skyscraper, but foul. Not far off from Big Mac land.
No, and Yachty's going to have to get his glove and entice his pitcher to get that ball down and outside part of the plate. This is 2 in a row now. Look where Yachty wants it, and look where that thing ends up. That's backing up. That is not the entire desired pitch and the design of that pitch. He's been soft the entire time. The chess match would be, is this the time he pushes the gas and tries to blow by him a fastball after setting his eyes slow.
The 2-2. 95 beneath the knees, full count.
And that's what he tried to do, but that pitch was down below the zone. Even Yachty couldn't make this one look like a strike. That's the pitch.
The slimmest of leads for the Cardinals. Yankees down to their final 3 outs. And Molina out from behind home plate. He wants to talk.
I think this conversation is going to be, look, okay, We haven't made a good off-speed pitch here. We have a chance to make a good one off of that fastball down, make it look like it's going to be on the outside part of the plate, and execute and bury this breaking ball, or whatever off-speed he wants to throw. But he wants to make sure they're on the same page in direct communication instead of pitch comm.
Not taking any chances to this guy in the 9th in a 1-run game. Here it comes.
See Yachty again. Another one left in the middle of the plate.
Gallegos playing with fire here in the 9th inning. Judge leads the majors, 43 home runs. Has been even hotter out of the All-Star break. Another 3-2 to center. This will hang up for Carlson. Underneath, one gone.
I was watching Gallegos, and he wasn't sure. Let's just say he wasn't sure. He delivered this pitch and he went, oh, please, please.
One of the few in the ballpark disappointed. I'm surprised Gallegos didn't go down to 2 knees. One out for Donaldson. Bounces in.
These are the at-bats after Starr gets up there and you've used all your energy, like you know that matchup right there. You can't let your guard down because Donaldson can go just as quick in the air and tie this game up. The general rule as a closer when you come in, every pitch has to be made perfectly because one swing can tie the game up.
2-0.
The general rule basically come in with a 3-run lead, they hit their way on. They hit their way to the tying run. You don't mess around and walk anybody. But in a 1-run game, if you have to walk somebody, you walk somebody. You don't want that one swing, even though you put the go-ahead run at the plate, but you can't, you're just trying to prevent that game from being tied with that current batter at the plate.
Three balls, no strikes. Donaldson works into a good count.
See here, 3-0. You don't do what you would 3-0 in the 6th inning and pour a fastball in there just for the sake of doing it, because this is a green light 3-0 swing.
Flips the corner.
That's a good pitch. That wasn't a fastball.
Yankees fans praying they don't get shut out tonight. A win tonight for the Cardinals would mark a series win over New York. Rip and a miss. Elevates the fastball.
Well, from not throwing a pitch close to making 3 great pitches at 3-0, set up by that pitch right there, inner half off speed. Then he blew a fastball by him at the top of the zone, and I believe he sneaks one by him, maybe guessing off speed, but getting the fastball, and he couldn't pull the trigger. Huge out after being down 3-0.
Yankees have been shut out on just 2 hits tonight. They have not lost 1-0 since the 2020 season. That's their only 1-0 loss since May of 2016. Gleyber Torres, the last hope for the Yankees. Strike 1. And Torres extended to Carpenter in his homecoming. Oh, and 2.
No reason to change right now. Throw the same pitch. Over the top downhill break, and Torres hasn't seen it at all.
High target.
A little deep there by the master.
You got me. Still 0-2. Arenado has driven in the game's only run. Can that hold up for the Cardinals? 2 outs, 2 strikes. The 0-2. It is the largest crowd in Busch Stadium history. 48,581.
And they're all standing.
Ballpark that opened up in 2006. Larger than any World Series game. Larger crowd than the All-Star game in 09 here. Swing and a miss, and the ball game is over. The Cardinals shut out the Yankees 1-0. The final score.
Well, if this was a gauge of the Cardinals against one of the best in American League, they passed the first 2 tests, and they're feeling really good about themselves. 2 one-run victories over the New York Yankees.
They have secured a series win. They set up a chance for a sweep tomorrow. Yankees' first 1-0 loss since August of 2020 at Tampa Bay. And this 4-game losing streak now the longest of the season for New York. A 1-0 Cardinals win. Well, for the Hall of Famer John Smoltz, for the great Ken Rosenthal, I'm Aaron Goldsmith. We'll send you out to Kevin Burkhardt and the guys in Los Angeles. More post-game coverage right after this.